Hello and welcome to the science channel of Vigyan Prasar. We have our eyes, ears, nose, skin, tongue. They're all sensory organs. Sensor, that's the key word. Also, when we go to a metro station or an airport or even in a shopping mall, I'm sure we would have seen doors or elevators operating on a sensor. But do you know what is a biosensor? In today's program, we'll understand biosensor and its role towards preventive healthcare management. My name is Amit Arora and I'm joined in the studios by a couple of distinguished scientists. Let me introduce them to you. Please welcome Dr. Pratima Solanki. Namaskar. Assistant Professor, Special Center of Nanoscience with the Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi. Also with us is Dr. Bansi Malhotra. Namaskar, Doctor. Professor, Department of Biotechnology, Delhi Technological University. Dr. Pratima, let me begin by asking you, what is the fundamental difference between a sensor and a biosensor?
The sensor, as you told, the many sensors nowadays is available. Sensor is giving a signal of the physical environment, like the fire sensor, the proximity sensor. Nowadays, every car having their proximity sensor to measure the distance. That is especially for the back distance on your car,
yes,
to avoid these accidents. But biosensor, this is also the analytical device that will be used for monitoring the biological as well as chemical substances that combined with the biological component and with their physiochemical detector, like the glucose biosensor that used for measurement of the glucose level, and second the pregnancy strips that they have the biomolecules for detection of the particular analyte.
Okay, well, it is very interesting for the viewers to note that in early 90s, it was Dr. Bansi Malhotra and his team who had discovered the glucose biosensor in India, and therefore congratulations to you. You're demonstrating that to us. Please tell us, what is, how does it operate?
It's basically an electrochemical device which consists of two electrodes, and one of the electrode is a reference electrode comprising of silver chloride, and another electrode is a working electrode which essentially contains graphite immobilized with the glucose oxidase, which is a protein. So as a result of what we essentially do is we drop a drop of blood onto this given area, and there is a biochemical reaction that occurs, and as a result of the interaction between the glucose oxidase and the glucose contained in the test specimen, it releases certain electrons, and more glucose means more electrons, and we accelerate these electrons by putting a certain voltage onto the working electrode of around 0.4 volts, so it becomes a current. So more glucose means more current, and that is how we can measure the glucose in an unknown sample.
Absolutely, and given this discovery, Dr. Pratima, a lot of people would have benefited because now using a glucose, biosensor, you can be healthy.
Yes.
So it's an important discovery.
Yeah, definitely. That is very useful for measurement of the glucose level. If you know that the glucose level, if is the low and the high, there is relating to the many disease. The low is also very bad and high is also very bad.
So therefore, Dr. Malhotra, because we say health for all we can achieve by stressing more on prevention, do you think when we talk about biosensors, it can play a very important role in preventive healthcare?
Yeah, I believe so, because if you are suffering from diabetes, so that will mean that you cannot do what you want and you cannot eat what you want. So that will mean less energy, less thinking, and you will be most probably in bed. So that will boil down to the fact that our GDP, it will affect our GDP eventually as such, and of course the health of the person who is suffering from a disease. So diabetes can result into high blood pressure and the kidney diseases as well. So when controlling blood glucose is extremely important for a healthy person.
Absolutely. But since you told us the difference between sensor and biosensor, that sensor is more about physical component, whereas in a biosensor it's about biomolecules. I have a curiosity in my mind. When we use thermometer to measure temperature, will a thermometer be a biosensor?
Is the sensor, because there is no any use of the biomolecules. Yeah.
So thermometer would be a sensor.
Sensor, yes.
But Dr. Malhotra, since for a preventive healthcare, we would like to ensure that we don't have blood pressure, because having BP will give a strong basis for other lifestyle diseases, whether cardiovascular or other diabetes problem. Can a biosensor also measure my blood pressure?
I don't think so at the moment, because the blood pressure monitors are usually based on piezoelectric devices. So what the blood glucose can be measured, as I said, or even you can measure urea, cholesterol and others. But blood pressure monitoring through blood biosensor is probably not possible.
So right now we are saying we can measure the glucose, we can measure urea, cholesterol.
Yeah, and
Uric
also you
acid.
can detect a cancer.
Okay.
You can detect cancer and the even diseases like if you run very fast, there is a lactate level get accumulated into the knees. So if the lactate level, if you run very fast, if there is no accumulation of lactate in the knees, that will mean that you probably have taken some drugs. That is only the basis of the determination of the fact that the athletes can be found to take a drug at all. So there are many other parameters like cancer I mentioned, and also the aim at the moment is to determine not to utilize blood as such, to use non-invasive devices.
Okay.
So aim is, I mean the efforts are towards determining glucose in saliva.
So that's a nice characteristic that we can also have a non-invasive biosensor, so there is no need for any pricking or any pain as well. Time for a quick break. When we return on the other side, we'll certainly ask, if we look at the agriculture sector, for us to have nutritive food, can we also have application of biosensor there? On the other side of break.
India Science is an internet-based science TV channel initiated by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, implemented and managed by Vigyan Prasar. India Science on the URL www.indiascience.in is a bilingual channel with content in Hindi and English. It can be accessed on any internet-enabled device. This video platform is dedicated to science and technology knowledge dissemination with a strong commitment to spreading scientific awareness, especially with Indian perspectives, ethos and cultural context. The India Science mobile app can be downloaded from the Google Play Store and Apple Store.
Welcome back. Today we are focusing on biosensors and their role in preventive health management. We have with us Dr. Pratima Solanki and Dr. Bansi Malhotra. Dr. Pratima, nutritive food is so very essential for good health. So in the agriculture sector, do you see role of biosensors?
Yeah, definitely. That in agriculture we can also use biosensor for some pesticide detections.
Okay.
And second, some mycotoxins. Mycotoxins, these are the secondary metabolites that is produced by some fungus, and they are very carcinogenic in nature. So we can make some biosensor that can be used for detection of the mycotoxins. Our lab at JNU, we have some projects from DBT that to develop the sensor for mycotoxin detections. So we are working in this direction.
Okay. Dr. Bansi Malhotra, what are the other sectors in which you see potential role of biosensors in times to come in India?
Well, one of the major aim is environment. The nitric oxide, or that is a toxic gas. So we would like to know which area one should drive so that you encounter a minimum of toxicants like carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide or nitric oxide I just mentioned. So there is a tremendous need or requirement for sensors which can monitor these levels, and so as you know, the inhaling these gases can lead to deterioration of health of the person who is driving or who is walking or whatever in that given area. So environment is on, and defense, because the future wars are not going to be fought by gun.
Yes.
They are going to be fought by who has the best technology. In other words, an enemy can release a gas which can immobilize our soldiers. So we would like to know what kind of gas that has been released to immobilize, and then if we find out this is the gas or the March gas which has been released, so how to neutralize it.
So a biosensor could help detect that gas and perhaps also tell us the antidote for it.
The reason, I mean the solution to diffuse it.
That's very, very powerful, very powerful.
That's right.
But since you are doing active research in nanosciences and you also represent the Center of Nanoscience in JNU,
yeah.
please tell us, how do you see application of nanoscience in biosensors?
Biosensor. Actually, that the biosensor development, we need three components, like the biomolecules and the transducers. And for biomolecules, we need some the substrate to immobilize these biomolecules.
So biomolecules will include?
Includes enzymes, antibodies, DNA, and the whole bacteria. Also, we can take some whole cell based biosensor. So that if we use some nanomaterial, due to their size is very less, the nanomaterial size that is less than 100 nanometer, so their surface area is very high. So loading of the biomolecules will be very high, so that improve the sensitivity of the biosensor. So we are using some type of the metal oxide nanoparticles, say like zinc oxides, and zirconium oxides, also metal nanoparticles like gold, silver, metal ions. And nowadays that to keep in mind that we should use some the biocompatible material, again that will be not harmful for the environment. So we are focusing to use some type of the carbon materials like the carbon doors, that is very sensitive, and their loading capacity of the biomolecules is high, that improve the sensitivity of the biosensor. So we are making the nanomaterials in our laboratory, and we are implement for the immobilization of biomolecules for the biosensor applications.
Okay. Well, Dr. Bansi Malhotra, you've written a lot of books. I see this book which is titled Biosensors, Fundamentals and Applications. And then there is this book which says Nanomaterials for Biosensors. Do you think going forward, nanomaterial perhaps is the way forward?
I believe so, because nanomaterials, as Dr. Pratima has mentioned, will require to improve the characteristics of the biosensors, you require as much molecules to be immobilized as possible. To that, in that case, nanomaterials have a high surface to volume ratio, can be used to increase the loading. So the aim of a biosensor is to not only to get information very quickly, but also get improved accuracy, and the result should be as accurate and as quick as possible, and then that will help a doctor or a health physician to do therapeutics of a given disease.
So since your team had discovered the glucose biosensor over the last couple of decades that Indian customers have been using it, how do you see the efficacy of the same?
Yeah, one of the result is that the glucometer that is in the market costs less, around 10 rupees per test, and it is repairable. The meter that I showed earlier is repairable, whereas the imported ones perhaps are not repairable.
But Dr. Malhotra, sometimes people believe that the strips, the biosensor per se, is pretty costly.
No, 10 rupees per test is not expensive, I suppose.
Okay.
But if you buy imported ones, it costs not less than $1. So which means it is quite cheaper. But then there is a possibility that it can further reduce. So that will depend on. That means we require more industries.
And we are manufacturing these in India now?
Oh yeah. When we developed it, we gave it to 3 companies. One of the companies was Pulsatham Healthcare Private Limited. Another was Gamma Instrumentation. They were based in Faridabad. And the third was Transgenics, which was based at Ahmedabad. Only the Bangalore company based at Pulsatham Healthcare Private Limited succeeded. So when you when you come up with a product, don't limit your licensing to one company. Give it to more companies so that there is a sufficient competition for the product to survive.
But for a product to really, first of all, to be developed, research plays a very important role. Dr. Pratima Solanki, help us understand what does it take to research, say, a new biosensor?
Nowadays, mostly the biosensor area, the people are suffering for the cancer. So we are also, the sir is also trying to make the sensor for early diagnosis of the cancer biomarkers, that to make some the non-invasive biosensor that using some saliva samples. And now we also started to work on detection of the vitamin D, because the deficiency of the vitamin D, that is also related to the many disease like
Yes.
the cardiovascular disease and the diabetes. So vitamin D is also very important area to work for making some biosensors.
But say, for example, if I have to mention whether I have vitamin D deficiency or not, what will be the biomolecule? Will it work like a glucometer?
Yeah, no, that is there is some antibodies we are using.
Okay.
Antibodies are the aptamers. So aptamers, they are having the specific interaction with the vitamin D. Even 25-OH hydroxy molecules that is present give the specific vitamin D concentration in your blood sample.
Yes.
So mostly we are using antibodies for detection of this cancer biomarkers and this vitamin D detections.
Yes, but Dr. Malhotra, the objective of Vigyan Prasar is to take science to every household. When you interact with young scientists who are pursuing PhD, have passion for science, are they looking at biosensor as an area where they could invest their time and efforts?
I think so. I get almost 1 or 2 applications every day to work on research and development biosensors.
Yes.
And since I have spent most of my life in biosensor research, I am afraid I am unable to accommodate them. But nevertheless, they find I find that they have a lot of interest in this a particular area, and I have trained around 25 PhDs in biosensors.
And Dr. Pratima, you've also been a student to Dr. Malhotra?
I worked with sir around 9 to 10 years as a DSP young scientist and a senior research fellow.
This is at the
SRF.
National Physical Laboratory.
Yes.
But tell our viewers, what is the role of the National Physical Laboratory?
Well, I was employed by them, that's it, and Department of Science and Technology funded a project at National Physical Laboratory on developing glucose and urea biosensors, and also alcohol biosensors. So then we put up a project to DST, and DST funded it, and we started working on it, and it was a challenge, and probably it continues to be still a challenge in the sense that we want to have a glucose sensor which will be disposable.
So how long does it take to do the research and come up and discover a new biosensor?
Yeah, you can discover a biosensor maybe in 6 months or a year, but then to commercialize it is not so easy.
I think that's an important cue that Dr. Bansi Malhotra has given to us. So, of course, it's very heartening to see the young scientists are looking at biosensors as a very nice field, and it might take 6 months to an year to also create a new biosensor. But how long does it take from research in lab to market? We'll discuss with both our guests on the other side of the break.
India Science is an internet-based science TV channel initiated by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, implemented and managed by Vigyan Prasar. India Science on the URL www.indiascience.in is a bilingual channel with content in Hindi and English. It can be accessed on any internet-enabled device. This video platform is dedicated to science and technology knowledge dissemination with a strong commitment to spreading scientific awareness, especially with Indian perspectives, ethos and cultural context. The India Science mobile app can be downloaded from the Google Play Store and Apple Store.
Welcome back. We are focusing today on biosensors and how they can help in preventive healthcare management. Dr. Pratima Solanki and Dr. Bansi Malhotra are with us. Dr. Pratima, once we've discovered a biosensor and we've done all the research in the laboratory, what's the journey from there to the commercial market?
Yeah, first we have to standardize and the optimization of the biosensor in our laboratory. That depends on your research, that how much we have optimized in the lab scale. Once if all parameters are optimized, that is take 2-3 years for the validation and the clinical trials. If we will start from the scratch, it's take more time, because we have to done some studies and to optimization, and then we'll go for the clinical and the validation trial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's take more time.
Okay. And how big is the world market and the Indian market of biosensors?
Well, it is growing and it is tremendous in the sense that you can make billions dollars, and each of us requires not only sensor, not one sensor, but many sensors as such. And I will believe that there is even for glucose sensor which we have developed, there is a room for involvement of more industries. And then we also require sensors. I said somebody suffers from kidney disease to measure urea or uric acid, so that they can monitor one's lifestyle as such.
So, Dr. Bansi Malhotra, while our topic today is role of biosensors towards preventive healthcare management, and when we say preventive, this is one step better than curative. But these days, with innovation and technology, a lot of people are talking about predictive healthcare management.
That's early detection. Early detection, when am I going to have a disease? That is a dangerous situation. And most of us are going to have some disease at some point or the other. But the question is that if I know that I am going to die in say 10 years from now, I can at least plan my life.
And biosensors can help predict that.
Biosensors can definitely help. And it can also help towards not only for healthcare, but also for freshness of food. Freshness of food. What kind of food should I take to increase the span of my life for the rest of my life?
Absolutely. So therefore, Dr. Pratima, we talked about the scope. Of course, health is one, environment is the other, agriculture, and like Dr. Malhotra said, defense, that future wars may not necessarily be with gun, but with chemicals. But food is also another sector where biosensors play an important role.
Yeah, biosensor for food measure, we can check some type of the bacteria also growing in the food after some times. So we can, some biosensors are available for monitoring the E. coli, that is a specific strain, that is the O157, that is very dangerous. So we can check some type of the Salmonella typhi in the water samples. And second, some antibiotics. Nowadays, antibiotics are found in the milk sample. So these are some biosensors we can use in the food sector. Yeah.
And like you told, what constitute biomolecules, DNA is also a biomolecule.
Yeah, DNA is
so
also
one can map the DNA and know how long I live, what could be the diseases I could possibly have.
I think
Not so easy, but then it can be helpful towards it. Even biosensor can be used to, as Pratima said about agriculture, even before I pluck the apple or the mango, whether it is worth plucking or not.
Okay.
So biosensors are going to be everywhere in future to come.
It is so nice to know the power of biosensors and to help us make aware of biosensors and its role in preventive healthcare management. Dr. Bansi Malhotra, Dr. Pratima Solanki, thank you very much, both of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we learned today what biosensors are and the increased scope they offer in times to come in India and also in the global market. So I'm very sure that you will think more about it and how it can serve humanity for better. Please do share your feedback at the given address. Thanks for watching.